Hello and welcome to my channel, and welcome to a new video. If you are new to this channel, my name is Frank Zhu, and I'm a college professor teaching sociology, history, and philosophy. I'm also an award-winning landscape photographer. Today, I want to make a short video sharing with you some of my random thoughts about a question that many of us have never thought about. But it is something that I think is essential to how we live our lives. And the question is, what is the meaning of life? By the way, the purpose of this video is to provide some food for thought, even though some people may think this question is a cliché question. There are several reasons why many of us have never asked about the meaning of life. First, we just take everything for granted, including our own life. For those people, life is given to us by God or by nature. It is there for us to live. So, why should we bother about it? Secondly, we think it is a difficult philosophical question. So, let philosophers deal with it. Why should we bother about a question that we cannot solve? Thirdly, for many people, the meaning of life seems an embarrassing and uncomfortable topic. Not only do they not ask themselves this question, but they also avoid discussing it with others because they think it is an awkward topic. Some people may take the opportunity to show off. Others may feel ashamed of themselves because they think they are losers in life. Finally, many of us believe that there are many other things in life that are more important and more urgent. We simply don't have time for a question that seems so far in the future. Well, it is true that such a question is a very philosophical one. By that I mean it takes lots of logical thinking and reasoning to find a good answer, which is always subjective. It is also true that we are busy with things we consider more urgent and more important. However, the matter of fact is that we often find ourselves in situations where this question arises in one way or another. For example, when you catch yourself lying to a friend, you probably would ask about morality in life. Did I just tell a lie? Why? Should I always be a moral person and never tell a lie? Sometimes you will find yourself wondering about this question more seriously and more urgently. For example, when you are about to go to the operating room for a life or death surgery, or when someday you find yourself getting old quickly, you start asking about the meaning of your life. Have I lived my life in a meaningful way? Would I regret about my life if I died now? In these situations, the meaning of life is no longer just a philosophical question. It is not a question for the future either. It is a real life question which you have to face, no matter whether you have an answer or whether you feel awkward to admit it. So, why is it so important to ask this question right here and right now? Let me first talk about the philosophical part of the question. The meaning of life has always been at the center of philosophical thinking, because one thing that sets us human beings apart from animals is our ability to live a meaningful life. Unlike animals, we human beings eat to live and not live to eat, which is why we want to know what kind of life we want to live. Philosophers throughout history have been asking and answering this question. The Greek philosopher Socrates, for example, famously declared that the unexamined life is not worth living. According to him, it is not enough to just examine and understand the external world. Without a meaningful life insight, the external world would be meaningless. Modern science and technology, for example, have enabled us to know so much more about the material and the physical world. But few can say that the increased knowledge has made our lives happier or more meaningful. It is therefore more important to understand and examine the internal world that lives in our soul. For Socrates, the soul is the focus of philosophy. Your concern for your body or your possessions should come after the concern for your soul. Socrates himself lived out his own philosophy to the fullest. He constantly engaged himself in philosophical questions and never stopped acting on his own philosophical principles, which is self-examination. Even just before he was condemned to die, he was still asking and answering philosophical questions with his audience and himself. For the rest of us, the question of the meaning of life is also important in real life. First, trying to answer this question helps you discover how you have been living your life. The question of meaning of life actually consists of many sub-questions. For example, we often hear people ask, "Do you live to eat or do you eat to live?" Which is essentially a question about the meaning of life. The question about the meaning of life is also important because it helps us become aware of the conditions we are in. For example, we should often ask ourselves, am I enjoying my life? What makes my life so miserable? These questions and other similar questions will give us a clear idea about our current life. Secondly, which is even more important, how you answer the question about the meaning of life determines what kind of life you will lead in the future. In other words, your own answer creates your own life. For example, suppose you are a young cynic who has just graduated from college and you step into society with the attitude that this world is full of greedy people and everyone is for themselves. You will then treat everyone as a threat and a rival. You will not be entirely honest towards others. Before long, people around you will see your hostility and keep a distance from you. They will not trust you because you have not been honest to them. Soon, you will find yourself surrounded by greedy people, a word that you have largely created yourself. Now, a related question naturally arises, and that is, how can you make your life worth living? In other words, how would you examine your life in order to make your life more meaningful? If you take many philosophers' advice, it is actually easy and simple. First, analyze your actions. Why did you need to take a certain action? How? Did you know what the consequences would be? Did you regret you did it? You should also evaluate every event that has occurred to you or is occurring to you. Has the event changed your life? Is it going to change your life? Secondly, ponder on your values. What do you hold to be the most valuable in your life? Is there a gap between your values and the way they are reflected in your everyday life? Is your inner self the same as the outer self? Finally, envision your future life. Do you fear the future? Do you want to become a different person? What are the bad habits you want to give up and new ones you want to develop? In a word, if you want to become a Socratic type of person, take time to examine your life every day. Otherwise, you will be fearful for the future and regret for the past. Well, that is all for this short video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.